The founding of the Norman Dynasty in Kyiv, Askold, Dir, and Prince Oleg. The arrival of the Varangians in Eastern Europe.
At the end of the 8th century, the inhabitants of the Scandinavian peninsula appeared on the stage of history. In Ukraine, they were known as the Varangians, while in Western Europe they were called the Normans, meaning the people of the north. They played an important role in shaping ruling dynasties across Europe, including the early state centered in Kyiv. Scandinavia was poor in natural resources, and many people struggled to make a living. As a result, groups of experienced warriors began organizing expeditions in search of wealth and new opportunities. Their fast ships raided coastlines throughout Europe, from England to Italy. The success of the Normans was largely due to the speed and surprise of their attacks, as local rulers often could not organize defenses quickly enough. At the beginning of the 9th century, Varangian war bands began moving into Slavic territories. They captured Novgorod and established themselves in other cities located in present-day Russia and Belarus, including Pskov and Polotsk. Groups of several hundred warriors settled in these cities. Their main goal was to collect tribute from the local population and gain wealth. After becoming rich, many Varangians returned to Scandinavia or entered the service of the Byzantine Empire. However, the most ambitious among them established their own ruling dynasties on Slavic lands. This happened in Novgorod, Polotsk, and Kyiv.
The road to Kyiv.
The first contacts between the Varangians and the Slavs of the Middle Dnipro region took place along the famous trade route known as, from the Varangians to the Greeks. Along this route, Varangian merchants and warriors traveled to Byzantium for trade or military service. The Varangian leaders quickly understood the strategic importance of Kyiv. The city controlled major trade routes throughout the region. For this reason, the Varangians sailed down the Dnipro River, captured Kyiv, and established their authority there. At the same time, most other Slavic lands within present-day Ukraine experienced little change for many years. Local princely dynasties continued to rule those territories.
Askold and Dir in Kyiv.
Gradually, Kyiv became the most valuable political center among the Slavic lands. Different Varangian leaders began competing for control of the city. According to the primary chronicle, two warriors of Prince Rurik, Askold and Dir, gathered their own followers while traveling toward Byzantium and settled in Kyiv. This happened in the year 862. The chronicle states that upon arriving in the city, they heard the local legend about the brothers Chi, Shek, and Koriv, who had founded Kyiv. Askold and Dir decided to remain there, gathered many Varangians around them, and began ruling the land of the Polyaenians. Historians still debate whether Askold and Dir were Varangians or representatives of a local ruling dynasty. However, this question does not fundamentally change the broader understanding of Kyiv's early history.
Rus becomes a major political power.
By the time of Askold and Dir, Rus had already become an influential political force. It was capable of assembling large armies and conducting long-distance military campaigns. In 839, the ruler of Rus sent an embassy to the Frankish emperor. During the 840s, Rus warriors launched a campaign against the city of Amastris on the southern coast of the Black Sea. The most famous event was the attack on Constantinople in 860. The forces of Rus succeeded in capturing and devastating the suburbs of the Byzantine capital. One reason for their success was that the Byzantines did not have enough time to block the entrance to the harbor with the massive chain that protected the city from naval attacks. Emperor Michael III was forced to return urgently from his war against the Arabs in order to organize the defense of the capital. Constantinople survived the assault, but within a week both sides concluded a peace agreement that was favorable to Rus. Patriarch Photius later wrote that the Byzantine capital had come close to being captured.
The baptism of Rus under Askold.
Foreign sources describe a powerful state in the Dnipro region ruled by a leader referred to as King Da. Around 867, Patriarch Photius of Constantinople reported the mass baptism of the people of Rus. Interestingly, Christian churches were later built over the burial sites traditionally associated with Askold and Dar. Many historians consider this one of the indications that both rulers may have accepted Christianity long before the official Christianization of Rus under Prince Volodymyr.
Oleg's arrival in Kyiv.
In 882, other Varangian rulers arrived in Kyiv. Among them were the young Prince Igor, who was regarded as the son of Rurik, and his relative Oleg. On their way to Kyiv, they captured Smolensk and Lubeck and placed their own governors there. After reaching Kyiv, Oleg decided to remove Askold and Dar from power. According to the chronicle, he invited them to negotiations and then ordered their execution. Afterward, control of Kyiv passed into Oleg's hands. This marked the beginning of a new chapter in the history of Kievan Rus. Kyiv became the capital of a powerful state that would later grow into one of the most influential political centers in Eastern Europe. After taking Kyiv, Oleg began ruling as the Prince of Rus, the land of the Polyaenians. Other cities controlled by the Varangians, as well as dependent tribes, were now regarded as subjects of Kyiv. For example, the people of Novgorod were required to pay an annual tribute of 300 hryvnias to Kyiv.
The campaign to the Caspian Sea.
Near the end of his reign, around 912 to 913, Oleg organized a military expedition to the Caspian Sea. His goal was to strengthen the commercial position of Rus merchants in eastern markets. However, during the return journey, the army of Rus came into conflict with the Khazar Khaganate. The Khazars sought revenge for losing control over Slavic tribes that had previously paid tribute to them. As a result of a fierce battle, a large part of Oleg's army was destroyed. Nevertheless, this setback did not stop the continued rise of Kyiv or diminish its growing influence throughout Eastern Europe.
Dear friends, if you like to study the real history of Ukraine, I would like to ask you to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and spread the information. I will be extremely grateful to you for this. I wish you all a good mood, health, and inspiration. See you in the next video. Goodbye.